This is the Cinema 9 podcast. I am Michael. That is Travis. That is Eric. And if you're listening to the podcast, we have the videos available on YouTube, uploading them. Maybe not the week of when we do it, but I upload them when I can. We just uploaded a recent episode of ours. I think we're about 2 or 3 behind on the YouTube, but soon enough, the YouTube will feature today's movie, which Travis chose, The Descent, 2005 film, and it's going to be a doozy, so get ready for all the entertainment related to that breakdown. Travis, it's Wednesday evening here in America, and school's almost out for summer.
Oh, man, I'm so ready for it. These kids are like, we did the finals already, so now they're like, what the fuck are we doing here? I'm like, I don't know. The state says you got to be here. Watch this movie. And they're like, fuck you. This is really hot because we don't have air conditioning. And I don't really blame them. It's ready for this week to be over. How you doing, Eric? How's vacation treating you?
Yes, day 5, and bored as hell. Bored as hell. Kind of wish I was at work.
Panda Watch, day 5.
I don't think I'm gonna feel that way.
If you really feel that way, you're fooling yourself. Come on, man. Work will not set you free. It's well deserved, you guys. Hope you enjoy your vacations. And if you're not a teacher and you got to work all year long, well, nothing I can do about it, right? It's out of my hands.
You could make a career shift.
Make that shift, I hear. Yeah, I mean, we need teachers more than ever, but you'd be a fool to get into the teaching game at this point in your life. No offense to my co-host at all.
Don't tell them. No. Secret.
Secrets. So, I mean, I'm excited. And we want to thank you guys for being a part of the show. cinema9pod@gmail.com. If you have an email, no emails again. We're on an email cold streak, but we'd love to get your feedback. And, of course, 5-star reviews, subscribe, all that stuff makes the show better. We'll probably do the show forever, but, we don't really try anymore. It's just something we do, right? I mean,
it's a hobby. It's a fun hobby.
It is a hobby. Yeah, it's a hobby. It's just it's a get-together every week.
Well, Mike, I thought you weren't going to make it today, so I went ahead and prepared a fun bonus item for Travis and I to talk about, since it's a horror episode.
Wow.
Maybe we'll give this a try. This could take just a few minutes.
Yeah, do it.
I was going to give Travis 5 nuggets of recent horror movie news. See if he had any opinions on them. You might as well, Mike, seeing as how every time we do a horror episode on Cinema 9, you end up loving the film. So I do think you're a secret horror fan.
Secrets.
Hostel's coming back with Paul Giamatti as the star.
Really?
Hostel, the series, starring Paul Giamatti.
Recent Academy Award winner, the series, the TV series.
Yeah, the series starring Paul Giamatti.
He must have signed on for that a while ago.
He's probably trying to back out of it.
He did win. What are you talking about? He won Best Actor.
No.
Didn't he?
No.
Oh, no.
Remember Oppenheimer?
He was so sure. Yeah, he was so sure that I got sure. Because even before that, you're right. He did.
He probably should have won. It would have been well deserved for a career. He's older than. I would have given it to him, but no, he didn't
Golden
win.
Globe.
Oh.
I just don't know here. This is for me, this is like a Chris Rock spiral situation where like a big star tries to join like a dead franchise and like who cares?
I never watched one of those movies. I didn't like the sound of them. I love horror movies, but I'm pretty picky about my gore. Like I like tasteful gore. So,
yeah. This is
Al Gore?
mid-90s torture porn, and for me, this is like hair bands. It's like, look, it was fun, kind of, at the time, but like, there's no need to do a resurgence or even show much of appreciation. So, Paul needs to get out of this contract immediately. Mike Flanagan's taking on The Exorcist. He's taking on The Reins, dropped by David Gordon Green after his massive failures, and Blumhouse has to recoup their $400 million investment in the Exorcist franchise. So I'm excited as hell. I can't wait.
I'm not, because if he's doing another movie, that just puts him that much further back from doing the Stephen King Dark Tower stuff he's been talking about doing, and just kind of I'm starting to feel kind of strung along, Mike. Put your money where your mouth is.
Cool.
Yeah, I see that, but like this guy is so prolific, he's probably going to be juggling a couple of projects. I mean, he's already wrapped Life of Chuck. It's in the can, and like there's always something. So, I'm with you. I mean, hopefully this doesn't. I mean, this could fail, and then they might get cold feet and not do the Dark Tower, and that would be a disaster.
Look at that beautiful face. It's a beautiful man.
Yeah, he's got a fine head of hair.
Sure does.
Dan Trachtenberg is back in the Predator series after the massive hit of Prey. He's back with Badlands, and he's brought Elle Fanning along. We're gonna have a Predator roaming the Badlands, and Elle Fanning's got to deal with it. I can't wait.
Are we talking like Pioneer days? Is that what we're talking here?
I don't know. Lips are sealed.
I'm excited. I'm excited. Trachtenberg and more Predator stuff. I'm me and everybody else. We're all on board.
I was hoping for that Predator in WW2 Barracks or whatever, but I'll go with this.
Well, for one, I'm sick of World War II. It's overplayed, and myself.
World War II overrated, Mike?
Overhyped? Out of touch? Too much? It needs to go away like Don't Stop Believing did for 20 years and then came back with a vengeance?
How about a nice Korean War feature? Why not?
Yeah, right? Never get enough of the Korean War. We're not meeting our quota on Korean War shit. You're right.
Yeah, let's move on. That's about all I have.
You sound pumped about it. I don't know. I know some of the names of the movies you guys just said, and I've heard you guys talk about Mike Flanagan plenty, but was Hostel, was that the Eli Roth thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So I got that right. Okay. You did. Before he became the bad Jew, which is...
Inglourious Bastards?
Yeah, but he's bizarre. He looked different than I thought he would. I never saw him until I saw him in that movie. I'm like, oh, you're that guy? He looked different. I don't know why.
Supposed to be Adam Sandler's role.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I've heard that. Yeah, that's fun. Man, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I fucked up. Yeah. All right, so let's get into quarantine viewing picks. Every week we share what we've been watching, whether it's good or bad, or maybe we won't tell you at all, but we always offer something. And this goes all the way back to COVID. When we first started the show, and all we ever could do was watch endless movies and television. Do you guys, I know we were trapped for a lockdown because of a disease, but outside of the disease part, I kind of miss those days. Like nothing was at stake. We did that great COVID cast every night. That was a lot of fun. Yeah. It's a good run.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I miss it. I mean, like I really missed karaoke, but I haven't found karaoke since. So I still haven't done karaoke. So there's still there's still some things that haven't gone back to normal, at least for me. I'm sure karaoke exists somewhere.
I actually did karaoke at a barbecue on Memorial Day weekend for my mom's boyfriend's daughter was getting married. So they had a barbecue before the wedding and they had karaoke there, and things have become so easy now. This is incredible to me. I'm very excited about the future where it's just all on the phone. The lyrics are right there, and then it hooks up to the Bluetooth speaker, plays the music for you, and you got the lyrics right in front of you on a phone, and it was free for what I could tell. So wow. I was really excited about it. It's never been easier for us to just have our own free-for-all karaoke party in our living room if we chose to do so.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
Yeah, I loved COVID-19. I miss it really.
That's putting it mildly.
Wrong show.
Gosh. Quarantine viewing picks.
All
Travis?
Right. Yeah, so it's me, right? So I did watch some movies this week. Someone on this podcast told me that Talk to Me was the best movie of 2023.
Oh,
and
dude, love that
they
movie.
may have overhyped it a bit for me. It was not the best movie of 2023. It was fine. It was okay. What can I say about it? Yeah, I don't know. It was fine. It was just fine. I think it's got like 6 stars on IMDb, and I felt like, well, that's appropriate. That's fine. I also checked out The Thing from 1982, which I've seen many, many times. I mean, that's still the first horror movie I ever watched. Do you guys know the first horror movie you ever watched?
I'm
lucky
first
in that way.
Horror movie.
Wow.
To remember specifically, but that's because
The
it's
Howling. I think it was The Howling. Yeah.
Nice.
It might have been. No, maybe it was The Gate.
I was going to say, was it The Gate?
Yeah, maybe The Gate.
Might have been. That's the one that's coming to mind. I don't have a recall of. I mean, I guess it's possible Nightmare on Elm Street or one of the Jasons were on in 85, 86, where I was at somewhere, but I do remember watching The Gate in 87, 88.
Right on. Well, it was awesome revisiting The Thing. I picked it up on Blu-ray, and It's pretty awesome. And then lastly, I checked out a romantic comedy from last year that got some acclaim. Again, not highly rated, but it made a lot of money, which romantic comedies don't make a lot of money in theaters anymore. Anyone But You. Yeah, Anyone But You with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney. Is her name, right?
Sydney Sweeney!
So romantic comedies are very much a very predictable genre. Right, I think that's part of the reason that they don't do as well as they used to. They're probably the most predictable genre in a lot of ways. You know what's going to happen,
right?
And unless you're talking about My Best Friend's Wedding, which we did on the show not that long ago, there's pretty few ways. There's pretty few ways to change that that formula. So this does follow the formula, but they have great chemistry. I was entertained. There were some preposterous, like what the fuck moments. Like, why is this in the movie? I'm like, what? This is dumb. But overall, definitely enjoyed Anyone But You. And that's all I watched.
Man.
Yep.
Shit. Okay.
Shit.
What did I watch? Shit, we just did a show, what, a few days ago?
You're right. We only did the show 5 days ago, so we're back.
I did sneak in all 6 hours of the acclaimed 1994 miniseries The Stand by Hack director Mick Garris. And it holds up. It is fantastic.
Wow.
A lot funnier than I remember it being. That's one thing Mick Garris, I give a lot of shit for him. I love him because I love his podcast, and I chat with him on Instagram. So if you're a fan of his, like, he reaches out like a few minutes later, and it's really fun. He'll talk about any topic about his movies that you want to. I asked him about working with Ed Harris, and he's like, what did he say? He's like, he acted very coy. He's like, I'm going to stay mum on that or whatever. So I guess he was a dick. But The Stand was fucking awesome. It's on YouTube. So if you don't want to pay for it, and it's been a while, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Good use of 6 hours.
Baby, can you dig your man?
It's been a while.
Dude, that's it, man. That's it? I watched something else. I'm not going to mention it because it's too embarrassing.
Oh, come on.
I sat there and watched a whole season of a fucking show about Garth Brooks renovating a bar and opening it. It took like 10 hours, but I just kept watching it.
Now I know why you want to go back to work. It makes more sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense.
Was it Chris Gaines or Garth Brooks?
Talk about it holding up. That album's actually good.
Is that like a dark half situation for Garth?
Yeah. I would assume so, based on I don't know. I don't get it. It was bizarre. That's a bizarre experience. But hey, you got to branch out. Crisis. I get it.
Yeah.
Crisis of Faith. Garth
good album.
Brooks
Terrible show. Food didn't even look good. Entertainment looked weak. Yeah, stage sucked. The new renovations looked poor.
10 hours for nothing.
Yep.
Cool.
Oh, no, wait, no. Hold on, dude. I watched that. We got a new cult doc on Netflix, Mike. The 7M TikTok cult.
Oh, I've heard a little bit about this.
Yeah, it's not bad. This guy fucking took advantage of a bunch of TikTok dancers. They gave him all of his money, and he stole their money and fucked them over real bad.
Why do people listen to somebody they hardly know who tells them Mike, you can never see your family again?
Because they broke it down, and they said that this is the perfect time and space. Everything is coalesced to this moment where joining a cult is so appealing because people are disassociated and displaced, and they're looking for answers and blah blah blah. I mean, that's been the case for a long time, but like in this social media landscape especially, it's very easy to be swayed by big personalities that make big promises. So it's an interesting doc.
Now more than ever. Yeah, I get that. I could see that. And after COVID, which we just talked about, people crave in-person connection. So the world's a sick and twisted place. But I'm glad to be a part of it. I only got the one. And this is funny. I made this mistake last week. And after the show, I realized what I had done. So I told you guys that I watched The Wizard of Oz, which is true. I did. That happened. But I wrote down Oz in my notes of what I'm watching. And I actually had started watching the TV show Oz.
Oh, yeah, never seen it. No.
You've never seen it?
No.
I only ever watched the first episode, and I was good.
Man.
Whoa!
Oz.
Man, I couldn't strongly recommend the show more. I only watched it. I did a one watch in 2016, when I was bored, and so this is my second run through of the show. It's just so in your face, man. It's excellent too. The storylines, and now that this was made in the first season was in '97, I believe, and it lasted 6 seasons, right? And now here we are in 2024 with more time and perspective on the 3 strikes laws and the increase of the prison population since the 80s. And it's more poignant now than ever. And it's also a great show with so many characters. People just coming in and out of that show all the time. And everybody could be killed. People thought Game of Thrones was a big deal because, like, wow, we don't know if a character is going to live or die. Oz says, fuck that. I'll top that with every episode we do. Great show. I really love Oz. I strongly recommend Oz if you've never seen it. I will admit it's not a family-friendly watch. If you're in a dark place, you might connect to it and actually make some connections. Or it also could make you feel worse. It could go either way. I don't really know. It depends on the person. So
if you're in a dark place, maybe do or do not watch the show Oz. Got it.
That's the disclaimer. There it is. Yep. Great.
Thanks. Yeah, if you're in a dark place, spend 6 seasons in prison on your home box office.
I'd rather spend it with Garth Marenghi in his dark place.
Or Garth Brooks in his bar.
Also, Sleepers, which we did on the show, episode 174 or something like that, features Terry Kinney as one of the guards at whatever that place was called. What was that place called? In the
something
movie?
Brook?
Yeah, something Home for Boys. What was that?
Wilkinson. Yeah, Wilkinson.
Okay.
So Terry Kinney is a star, though. Terry Kinney, one of the key main characters of Oz, a prison show. So there you go.
Is it realistic? Is that a realistic depiction of?
He's not a prisoner. He's somebody. He's the bleeding heart trying to help prisoners. So he fits that role perfectly. So yeah, I'm telling you, man. Woo! All righty. CinemaDivePod@gmail.com. 5-star review. Subscribe. Love us. Live us. Learn from us, just like we learn from you guys every week when you email the show. Eric, Travis, me are now going to focus in on Travis's selection for the week. It's a scary movie, which we've been a little quiet on lately, right, Travis? So fill us in on your history with not Descent, The Descent.
I don't remember the first time I saw this. I can only say I didn't see it in theater, so I must have just picked it up on DVD in 2005, 2006. Well, 2006, because it was a 2005 movie, but it wasn't released in the States until 2006. So I was living, I can vaguely remember where I was in 2006. No, it's gone. I don't know where I was living. I was living somewhere in the United States of America. And I watched
those were the Whitmore Lanes Pub karaoke days, if that's, does that help you at all?
Yeah, I think I may have been living with our good friend Christian Haraminski, I think. In that year. That seems right.
There you go.
And I think I actually watched it there. That sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched this at my beautiful first apartment, Yorkshire Apartments in Howell, Michigan, by the police station there, VG's.
Beautiful.
And this actually this is an interesting first viewing experience because I rented it and I watched it alone in my house, like at night.
Oh.
And this is the last time I remember not like being scared from a movie, because I get scared from movies quite a bit, horror movies, but this was the last time where, as a 26-year-old man, that it ended. I was scared, and I had to turn the light on, like, because it was too dark, and I was scared. And I'll never forget that. I literally had to turn some lights on because I was scared of the dark. So yeah, it worked on me, but I haven't seen it since. God damn it!
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So this is what I ended up getting like a burned DVD copy of. So I watched it a whole bunch of times.
Ooh.
Yeah, but I haven't seen it in a long time.
Oh, it's been a while. Okay. Mm-hmm. How about for me, I've never seen it. It's my first viewing, so I have no history with it. Like I said, I remember Rosario Dawson got nude in the movie Descent, but that's not this movie. This is The Descent.
Mr. Skin chiming in.
It's the best reference. I don't need Mr. Skin. I remember.
No, you are
I
Mr.
am
Skin. That's what I'm saying.
I am Mr. Skin. Damn it. I should have started that business. I'm such an idiot. I don't have good ideas. But I do know that this movie's called The Descent, directed by Neil Marshall and written by Mr. Marshall. So, new. I don't know why that's funny, but
It is.
Very good, Eric. What about the rating, guys? IMDb rating for The Descent?
I'll say 7.0.
Ooh, rock.
6.8.
Yeah, I was 6.7 is what I'm going with. 7.2 cracks the threshold.
7.2. That's respected for a horror film in particular. That's pretty high.
That's true. Or Rotten Tomatoes, 87. The critics like it a lot. 87%. 76 from the audience. A little less, but that's still rock solid. You'd take that if you can get it. If you were making a movie that you wrote and directed and you got that kind of number, you'd be happy. Be like, oh, wow, cool. I'll take it.
I'd take whatever I got.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you really have no choice. You're right.
Yeah,
So as far as critical reviews, let's see. Maybe Dustin will check in. I feel like we haven't heard from him in a minute.
It's sort of been towards the end of his career, as I recall.
Carl de Los Santos from Smash Cut Reviews. Ooh. The movie unfolds in a satisfying slow burn that makes you feel uneasy until it takes that anxiety and turns it into pure nightmare fuel by making your worst fears real.
Okay.
Nightmare fuel. Well, that's cool when a critic uses a term like that. David N. Butterworth? David N. Butterworth. From rec.arts.movies.reviews.
Wow.
He's got a picture and everything. He seems real. Look at this. 6 sexy spelunkers. Wow. Alliteration master.
Wow.
Impressive. 6 sexy spelunkers
See spelunkers.
in an underground fright fest make for keen and claustrophobic cinema.
Okay, so this guy's just like, alliteration is how you write.
Yeah. Also, is this movie a keen movie? Very keen, this movie, according to...
He needed something that went with claustrophobic.
Oh, okay, got it. I see. Let's see. Bring all kinds of people here. A lot of red tomatoes. A lot of people big fans of this film, The Descent. Boy, a lot of no-namers here. I mean, did people in the mainstream bail on this movie? That doesn't seem right? It's disrespectful.
I don't remember there being a lot of hubbub about it when it came out, but in the years since, it was one of those that it's always kind of respected in the horror community, it seems to me.
Okay. Oh, Kurt Loder! a virtuoso piece of filmmaking.
Jesus.
Thanks, Kurt. Claudia Puig of USA Today.
Whoa. How do you spell her last name?
Puig?
Okay, continue. I'm just curious.
Puig?
Sure.
You cool with Puig?
Puig?
Well, see, there was a guy who was a baseball player named Yasiel Puig, so I just went off that. Same spelling. That was my
sounds
assumption.
Sounds reasonable. I'm just never heard that surname. Continue.
Never heard of it. Next. Claudia Puig of USA Today said, for my money, the first 20 minutes or so minutes, the first 20 or so minutes, that's my fault, are the best in the film. Once the real adventure gets underway in the cave, things get less interesting.
That's... I feel like that's the opposite of how most people would feel about this movie, but okay.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong. You tell me.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, the movie is much more tense, obviously, in the rest of the movie, beyond the 20 minutes, has got a lot going on in terms of its intensity. So I don't know if I agree with that. I'm not sure where she was taking that.
It's an escalating buildup. So it's like...
No, Destin. I just looked thoroughly. Sorry, guys.
Kind of agree on the second viewing with Miss Puig here. I was really getting into this, this human, what do you call it? Human crisis. And then since I knew the creatures were coming up from the first half, I was like, okay, cool. Forgot what they looked like. Then the creatures weren't as exciting as I remember. And I did cross my mind, do we even need these monsters? Because I was into this tragic drama and this situation where they're stuck in this cave and no one knew how to get out, and I would have been totally fine with just like a survival situation.
Yeah, that's about
personally.
45 minutes in, 50 minutes in before. I mean, it's about solidly halfway through that the crawlers, as they're called, make their appearance. But yeah, this is a movie that you remove the crawlers and you have a great movie still. You have a really interesting premise still.
Do you? Okay, that's interesting.
I think so. People being trapped in a cave that they can't get out of. I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how they ended up there or why. I mean, the movie starts off and somebody dies apparently in a car accident. Maybe they don't. I don't know. Doesn't make any sense to me in the beginning. So I was lost early on. So
were you fast forwarding again? Because you're just describing.
No, I didn't fast forward anything.
That were not unclear, at least in my opinion.
So someone really did die and then woke up in a hospital after the accident?
Is someone hitting you?
So I think that you're confused because the cars on the driver's side is on the other side.
No, I get that. Yeah,
because
I listen to their voices. Makes sense.
The people that died were the husband and the daughter, right? And then the mother was hospitalized, and she wakes up, and eventually
then goes on an adventure.
A year later. It states that a few times. Actually, it's not really.
I must have looked down or something because I totally missed that. Wow,
it's in dialogue. They talk about it being last year. Like Juno
it's a major plot point, as is the fact that they're kind of tricked into going to this cave. Mike, these are major, points in the film.
It shows
I find it super interesting.
It shows Juno hiding the map before they go in the cave. And then it shows them go into the cave, which you said you don't know how they got in the cave. It's they hike through the forest until there's a giant fucking hole in the ground, and then they take ropes and they. Did you watch? Did you go into a fugue state while you were watching this?
Well, here's my initial notes. 2 minutes in, I already don't care. 10 minutes in, and I don't care at all. Then I write, who's who? Did someone die? Those were the initial notes, I guess. So I was really confused, or I just wasn't catching it. It wasn't latching onto me. Wasn't getting in my bones. So that makes sense now, though. Thanks for clearing that up. I appreciate it.
So we got 6 spelunkers: Sam, Rebecca, Juno, Sarah. Who are the other 2? Holly and Beth. Which I think the movie does a fine job, actually, of differentiating between all 6 of these characters and kind of making them feel distinct from one another. I do think that the actors that play Rebecca and Sarah, our lead, maybe they look a little similar, but I think that they do a pretty good job of differentiating between these characters myself.
Yeah, and they really built these cave sets apparently. Pretty wild.
Which makes me happy, actually, because watching the movie, every time I've ever watched a movie, I like, until reading that fact after I watched it a couple days ago, I was like, I've always been kind of concerned, like, how are they filming this? Like especially that really, really tight sequence where Sarah gets trapped inside, which is, I think, to me, that's the best part of the movie for me. I will repeat that statement as Eric puts his headphones back on. For me, that's the best scene of the movie. The claustrophobic scene where Sarah is trapped inside of the very slender cave. And so, yeah, that it's constructed, I think, is a good thing, because no one should die making a movie.
Yeah. Gotta talk about the dumb choices that they make with the crawlers. Like, I don't remember the crawlers being this inconsistent and kind of lame. Do you?
Definitely inconsistent. So, like, if they're blind, then they should be able to smell things really, really good, right?
Yep.
And their hearing should be impeccable. It should be incredible. If they've evolved to this degree, yeah, I found some of those things kind of inconsistent. But there is in particular the scene where Sarah is like in the boneyard or whatever, like their killing floor or whatever you want to call that, like their charnel house. That was
cool.
And they're tearing Holly apart right in front of her. And part of me is like, why can't they fucking smell Sarah right there? But then I thought, well, Holly is all over them, so all they could just be mistaking it for Holly. So I do think that there's maybe some stuff we could forgive. But I also agree that, yeah, some of it was kind of inconsistent and some of it was downright laughable. There's one moment where, like, Rebecca, like, there's all this green light from one of those glow sticks, and Rebecca is like walking, and like, Rebecca and Sam are separated from everybody else, and one of the creatures like does this like cartoon shtick where it kind of like falls from above and like kind of like swings into the set. I'm like, oh man, that is just laughable.
There's also made me think of the Predator and Jurassic Park with these creatures. I'm like, okay, so they're like a T-Rex. You don't move, maybe you're fine. Or is it like Predator where there's body heat, thermo imaging? It made me think of both of those. That's right.
I
exactly.
mean, dude, I'm sorry. The most ridiculous part where I fucking had to laugh out loud, which is a big chink in this film's armor, was when the fucking crawler is standing on the chick's fucking like head. I mean, they're gonna tell me that these like bat mutants that have been evolved for millennia with this echolocation capability doesn't realize it's standing on like a living thing. Come on,
I
dude.
could forgive that. I couldn't forgive him standing right next to fire and not being remotely interested in it. Like, how often has this thing been around fire?
Good point. I didn't even think about that.
Love it. They're Batboy-esque. That's what they are. Batboy
Bat
from
Boy
the tabloids.
escapes, yeah.
They make me think of orcs. Like,
Yeah. I thought of Gollum's cousin. Like maybe in another life, maybe there's a world out there, a universe where these people and these characters are all in the same world. Who knows?
Yeah.
I've
Blade
always-
2, they look just like the creature in Blade 2.
Oh shit.
I've always loved the premise behind him, though. The idea that there's like this subset of humans that they evolve differently from the rest of us, and they evolve. It kind of makes sense in its own weird way. And I always thought that was a good idea.
And they were contended with by early miners and maybe even prehistoric people. Like, it would have been really cool to see like a little drawing of one on the wall or something. But we get enough little clues to see that there's some history here, which, the mythology is cool. It's just, I don't know, the crawlers are kind of dumb.
Do they have boners?
I don't know,
notice
6
this
sexy spelunkers. That's not going to do it.
Wait,
I thought
What
I saw
is?
a boner on these crawlers. I was like, is that a fucking boner? I might have been mistaken, but I did write down that note. Does it have a boner? Maybe I was misseeing something. My perception was poor. But I also think that, Travis, you're right, that does make sense, that they would be less developed and have different traits because of where they've been. That makes sense to me. I could buy that.
boners.
Yeah.
Boners! Also,
Did
what's with the
crawlers
birthday
have
cake?
Oh,
Birthday
Mike,
cake,
her kid died in the beginning. It was an essential element to Sarah's character. And she
That's
was kind
true.
of like remembering great memories of her child.
Okay.
Yeah. Before the
Makes
credits
sense.
are even done rolling, we have a dead child.
It's true.
So the movie it tells us that in the caves, there could be auditory and visual hallucinations, and Sarah begins to experience those almost immediately. But the giggling of like her daughter is kind of like, oh, okay, I got a horror movie doing the giggling child thing.
Yep.
And I just watched The Thing the night before, and like, this movie is not the only movie to steal this from The Thing, but that Ennio Morricone, that bum 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 bum, that whole fucking thing, that's used throughout the whole movie. I'm like, I just saw that last night.
I remember as soon as the child giggled, I was like, please, one of the other girls, please don't be like, that's not Jessica, Sarah. Please, no.
There's a lot of trumpet spurts in this movie with the music.
Was there?
I noticed them. They're in there. Yeah, it could be a trombone, maybe. I don't know, but it's brass. So
I did not notice that at all.
maybe it's a sax. But I was like, oh shit, those spurts happen. And of course, this is typical. You guys are the horror scary movie overlords here. I am not. But to me, I'm like, okay, the classic, no sounds, then a jump scare. I mean, that's just how it goes, right? So
There's one major jump scare in this movie, which I actually thought worked well, because it's the scene where Sarah is like surprised by all the bats bursting out, which is totally cliche. To have like that be the jump scare. But I liked that the movie set Sarah up as being kind of fragile, and she needs Beth to help her through things, kind of panicky, and everyone's kind of like, taking it easy around Sarah. She's traumatized and she's delicate and all this kind of stuff. But by the end of the movie, when she comes out from like the blood sea or whatever the fuck that thing is, and she's got the fucking bone in one hand and the torch in the other, she's like, full hero, feminine hero of horror film mode, and it's awesome.
yeah, whole female cast, right? I mean, this is all women taking this thing on. It's 2005/6. That's cool. Good job. movie?
There's several allusions to Deliverance in the movie. But one thing that Dickey's novel and that movie do really well is set up conflicts within the characters before the river trip. There's some here, but it's all still your classic cabin in the woods, fun times with friends stuff. If you would have brought that conflict with Juno and the boyfriend, maybe hinted at that a little earlier, maybe it could have been more interesting.
It's absolutely hinted at. And well, in the very beginning, Juno is helped out of the river by her husband. He's helping her instead of his own wife. And then there's these delayed kind of looks at, I thought it was really telegraphed, the relationship between the two.
Maybe I misspoke, Travis. You're right. But maybe if they already knew about that going in and they had to deal with that, maybe to help their friend, some sort of arc. You know what I mean?
But then you wouldn't get to me, which is one of the best scenes of the movie, which is when so Beth dies. Juno thinks that she's killed Beth, but she leaves Beth to die.
Yeah.
Beth gives this keychain. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's some sort of pendant. That it's got the dude had his own fucking slogan, love every day. Okay, so I'm having an affair. I better put my slogan on this gift I'm giving to my wife.
Of course,
right.
Anybody who's cheating knows that,
right? But when she gives when she makes sure that Juno sees it, it says everything. It says, "I know that you fucked my husband, and I know that you killed Beth." But no words are exchanged. I think that's really well done, personally.
Not a word was spoken. The church bells all were broken. There's a Blair Witch Project moment in this where I was like, oh, it's Blair Witch Project. When everything had the green kind of light on her face momentarily, that was brief. Somewhere in the movie, I wrote it down. Made me think of that movie. There you go.
I mean, I thought of that too. And I thought to myself, well, imagine Blair Witch, which is an amazing study of paranoia and, mental breakdown in a survival situation, but then an hour in, all of a sudden a bunch of fucking witches and satanic cultists come out. That's when I would check out a Blair Witch, but they don't do that there. Here, the dumb bat people come in. So I don't know, man. I'm conflicted about the bat creatures. Bat Boy has me puzzled.
The most tense moments of the movie to me have nothing to do with the crawlers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Sarah caught in that one passage, that scene, and when Rebecca is swinging, well, that whole sequence when they first are going across, and they see the old piece of equipment from climbers or from spelunkers before them. Both those scenes are probably the most tense scenes in the movie, where I'm literally on the edge of my seat, and they got nothing to do with the crawlers. That's
right, man. And I think some of it for me might be overconfidence with their skills in killing the creatures. I mean, they're fucking Black Widow on that shit, with those swords and stuff. It's didn't seem that realistic.
How can you tell? There's a lot of camera movement. I could tell someone's doing something. Someone's killing someone. At one point, Sarah bites something off, but it's all in the dark, and it's all kind of up close, and I can't really tell what the fuck is happening.
2005.
I wrote down the editor doesn't trust the design department. I was like, this must be, maybe there's a riff there, because I'm like, okay, come on. I know this is 2005/6, and Batman Begins, some of the editing there was very, maybe that was just kind of how things were back then, but it did bother me a little bit.
Yeah, and the way the crawlers move is dumb. They're overlit, and I don't like the choice to shoot them in 18 frames per second. I think it's a dated choice.
Can you elaborate on that for us morons?
Well, you know how they're all shaky, they skitter around and they look kind of unusual to you? It's because they're shot in a higher frame rate. And I think it's kind of silly looking and dated.
Interesting. Thank you.
It didn't make it feel dated to me because I'm not familiar with exactly how they achieved that effect. I'm glad I wasn't. But I do think so not having that impact, I think it helps make them move less human. So I think it kind of works, at least for me.
Human.
But also they're so fast. If they're this fast, they should one should be a big deal to fight. And you do have moments pretty early on, like you said, where Juno and Sarah especially are and Juno especially are taking them on fairly easily.
Yeah.
But
do you hear about the
Juno is a badass
too? Juno is a badass. There was a tragedy, unfortunately. The director's dog died halfway through production. So they got a tribute in the credits. So farewell, Meg.
I think what I'm trying to get at, and I'm finally able to articulate, is I don't like the way they move, because like I want to believe that these are like real, like forgotten cryptoids down there. When they move funny and they look too like monstery, it's just like, well, what is this? Are these like vampires? It loses me. If they're real animals and portrayed as such, it'd make me more interested.
Yeah, got some whitewater rafting too to start off the movie. That was fun.
Yeah.
Good
Even
time.
that thrilling.
Have you guys done that? Everybody here done that?
I've gone canoeing. I would never go whitewater rafting like they did.
You never
Gone cabrewing. There was no white. There was no white.
Yeah, cabrewing, exactly.
There's no rapids.
I love that.
Yeah.
I did it once for real with Horning and somebody back in 2012 in the same place which they advertised about the River Wild. Kevin Bacon, Meryl Streep.
Oh, yeah.
It's like their big claim to fame. Like, we were the people that trained them. They filmed that movie here.
Remember 1991?
Yeah, exactly. I will say it's intense. Yeah. I mean, like we didn't do like do or die trip, but it was real. You had to pay attention. They were like, hey, don't fuck around or you'll die. I'm like, oh shit, this is a little too real for me. So, yeah.
And I do think that the movie does an okay job at kind of expressing how that's how these people kind of work, or at least that's how they used to work. One of them at one point, it's like, I'm an English teacher, not fucking Tomb Raider, which I thought was kind of funny. But yeah, so you kind of you do get the sense of a friends group that's starting to fracture. They've been doing this kind of like regular. We have our feast where we just get together and eat a bunch of food and drink and hang out for a weekend. This is what they do instead. And they're still clinging to this tradition, and it's getting, there's all kinds of tension between the different groups. And I think like there's this one moment, like Juno especially is someone that has been trying everyone's patience even before anyone knew about the affair. So like, and when Rebecca and Sam are off on their own, and Juno's calling for him, at one point, Rebecca's like, she's going to bring all those things down on our heads. And Sam's like, well, so long as it's not on our head, which, I think that really demonstrates like that survivalist mode and again, that splinter kind of friendship. So I think that there's some pretty rich character development in this movie for a diverse cast of characters.
And I like how they're not teenagers. Like, these are adult women that kind of act like adult women, which was refreshing back then and now. Yeah,
I agree. Huh. Jokes about pajamas.
Yeah.
Oh, pajama jokes? Okay, that's fun.
I think it's interesting that they're able to kind of get some found footage elements in this movie. I think that Neil Marshall is able to kind of have his cake and eat it too by having it be like a regular feature film. But at one point you get this kind of interesting device where Sarah's helmet breaks and all she's got is Holly's camera that you can see in night vision. So you get some scares throughout the movie from the night vision on the camera instead, which is you get kind of both. It's obviously overwhelmingly regular feature film, but I think that works.
Is this before Wreck?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure, or at least around the same time.
Well, that gives it more points.
Well, around the same time. I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, I wrote down that note. A movie of someone else recording somebody on camera. All right, that was my note. So, filming, you're watching something being filmed while someone's filming. That's fun. But you're right, it is a cheat code, Travis. It does give them the fresh perspective from there.
Yeah, they're able to kind of do it both ways.
Dumb ending.
Okay, so I have seen this movie many times, and I'm watching it the night before last, and it ends, and I'm like, what the fuck was that? That's not the ending I know.
Oh, shit.
It turns out
really?
That my whole life I've always been watching the UK unrated version.
Oh,
and that's all I'd ever seen.
No way.
At the end of the movie, as we know it, or as United Statesians know it, she escapes. She gets out. She sees light in the tunnel, and she escapes. And she gets out, and she goes to the car, and she drives off. And then she pulls over. She has a vision of Juno as a ghost, and the movie abruptly ends, which is a terrible ending. I think it's a terrible ending.
Awful.
The end. So. It doesn't make any sense for these creatures to set up their whole home, their whole killing grounds in some area where a huge bolt of daylight is going to shine in there for several hours throughout the day. The only reason that ever made sense is because, and the only reason like the dream sequences earlier in the movie are tolerable to me is that because in the UK version, she falls, she hits her head, and she dreams that she escapes. She dreams she sees this exit, and she pulls over on the side of the road. And then she wakes up and realizes that she's lost in the dark and still surrounded by those things, and the torchlight is going out, which is a way more effective.
Oh, hell yeah,
way more.
This is just piss poor, and I mean, I knew they were going to do it. I knew we were going to see the shaft of light, and we are going to have this like obvious exit. It's like this is like my problem with my only problem with Raiders of the Lost Ark, when the entire movie is about trying to find the Well of the Souls, and then like Indy moves like one brick, and like he's just in an airport, like in a little fort. And, like, anybody could have just been like, "What's in there?" And it would have been what everyone's looking for. Yeah, too easy. And like it's a jump scare ending. Like I can dig her escaping if it was done better, because we get this allusion to Texas Chainsaw, which is like this frenetic ending where yes, the characters survive, but she's far from okay. She's fucked up for good. But then we get this stupid Hollywood 2005 ghost dumb.
Yeah, well, it could have been worse. In an interview with Vulture in 2021, Neil Marshall said that the guy from the French distributor wanted all the girls to get naked and jump in a pool in the cave. So that did not happen. Good. Neil Marshall stuck to this.
It sounds like Neil Marshall, and he also fought for it to be like. Well, I think that he had originally written it to be a mix of men and women, but once he started actually like casting, he was like, "It's way more interesting if it's women," and he was right. It is more interesting that way.
Yeah, it was, and they also gave him help with the dialogue too, to like make it seem like a more female perspective, which he did change some of that based on the actor's recommendation, supposedly. So this is an interesting movie from that perspective. Yes, all women cast. I mean, that husband is the only dude in this movie, I think.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Okay, I've exhausted my notes.
Yeah, I think I'm about ready to say my piece. I will say that I was driving the day after. So I watched this movie the night before last. So yesterday morning I was driving into work, and I realized as I was driving behind a truck with a whole bunch of those long metal poles on the freeway in front of me. And it was like a Final Destination 2 moment or whatever. I'm like, I gotta get the fuck away from this thing.
Exit ramp immediately.
Oh, how about that? Silly.
Yeah. So this was my choice. So I'll go first. This is like I said last week. I really want to kind of go out of my way more to choose movies that, in my head, I'm like, this holds up. This is a great movie, because for many, many years. Because I have not seen this movie in a long time, but I have consistently said that this is one of the greatest horror movies of all time, and I don't think I feel that way after watching it the other night. I do think there's a lot of really strong moments in here. I mentioned that pendant scene. I think that a lot of the tension between the whole dynamic between Beth and Sarah, and then Sarah and Juno, I think is pretty well done, and the whole way that Juno kills Beth and all of that. There's a lot of stuff in here that's awesome, and I think that there's a lot of stuff in here that I wonder how much it influenced other movies. She's running through the hospital, and it's all there's no one in there but her, and the lights are shutting off one by one as she runs under them. And I'm like, man, I've seen this in a million fucking movies, but then I'm like, but did I see that before this movie? I'm not sure. Maybe I did. I'm not sure. I feel like it's probably a pretty influential movie, but I also feel like a lot of people probably operate kind of like I do, where they watched it back in 05, 06 and went, that's great. And just kind of kept it in their head that it's still great. And it's not that great. I think you're right that it would have been better without the crawlers, or with even less of the crawlers. If the crawlers had been more mysterious, less on screen, less of a focal point for the second half of the film, I think it would have been cooler. And more than anything, I think, honestly, if I had watched this movie the night before last and it had the UK version that I'm used to seeing, I would have walked in here today and said, it barely holds up.
Oh, man.
But now, knowing that that's Mike who's never seen it, and that tons of Americans who've never seen the version I know, that's what they are used to seeing. That is a shitty fucking ending. It's not even an ambiguous. It's just like rushed and sent. I don't know. It's just a bad ending. And I think a movie like that deserved a better ending. And they made a sequel, which I'm still glad I didn't watch.
Oh,
I'm surprised to say, because I really thought I was going to go in loving this movie. I went in loving it, but I think I'm going to have to say it doesn't really hold up.
Oh man,
how about that? Who goes next, Eric? Here you go.
This is a surprise, man. This is stunning. I remember when I had to turn the light on in 2006 because I was scared. I tried to turn the light on again after this most recent viewing so I could find the remote and turn it off the second it ended because I was bored. I think we got a really tense, interesting first hour that's full of great character dynamic and build up. And then we got I don't know, the Bat Creatures are 28 days later clones, or 30 Days of Night clones. They're just dumb, and they completely strip me of all interest. Which sucks, man, because I'm with you. I was like, this Descent? If you told me last month you've seen The Descent, I'd been like, are you fucking kidding me? It's one of the best horror movies of the 2000s, easily top 10. But it just I don't know if it's dated. I don't know what to point the finger at here. I don't know if it's dated, and I've seen this so many times that I'm numb to it, or that it
Wait, you said you haven't seen it since this is only the second time you saw it.
Well, I've seen so many things like this, like this sort of thing.
It's a good question, Travis.
So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. It just felt redundant. I guess that's kind of what I'm trying to say. Which isn't good for now. On our first viewing, you might watch this and be like, "What the fuck are you guys talking about? This is awesome." But yeah, I don't know. I believe I said it all. Wanted more. Neil Marshall hasn't been heard from since. He's making total no stars, no big hits since this, man. And this guy made Dog Soldiers. Dog Soldiers is fucking awesome, I think.
He did Howl, which was pretty good, I believe.
Did he?
Oh,
I thought that was him, or maybe I'm thinking of Shauna Daniels. She was in Howl. That's what it is. The woman that played Sarah. She went on to be in Howl. I take it back. Sorry, continue.
Yeah. Well, I've been confusing Neil Jordan and Neil Marshall, so I've always been like, Neil Marshall's still going strong, but no, nothing since this. Dude, the bottom line, Mike, is that this just isn't that good, and not as good as I remember. It doesn't hold up. That's the official opinion of Travis and myself, and I'm blown away. I can't believe I'm saying this.
How about that? By the way, Neil Marshall directed the David Harbour Hellboy movie.
That's right.
That's
right. Yeah.
Oh wait, no, the David Harbour one. Oh wait,
yeah, the David Harbour one. Yeah.
Never mind. Never caught it.
Yeah. This movie fucking sucked, man.
Yeah. Well, if Eric and I didn't like it, I knew you were gonna.
Right.
I was not, it never got to me. I mean, there's been other horror movies, scary movies we've done on the show that sucked me in, and I was paying attention and I dug it. But this one, it did not grab me at all. In it, I was like, okay, well, it'll probably grab me as the plot thickens. And it did not. I did not. I did not have any joy or hardly any moments of feeling entertained while watching this movie. I just did not. It's not for me, and it's too bad because of what it represents. You got all-female cast, and they're trying to do something that pushes movies forward. I love that. I respect that, but a movie's a shit movie. It's a shit movie no matter who's in it. It does not hold up for me at all.
I think it had to be pretty awesome in 2005, 2006. I think by the standards of that time,
Yeah.
I think so. Like you said, Eric, if someone had never seen it before, I think they would have needed to see it around the early or the mid to late 2000s. But our sensibilities have adjusted, and this just doesn't quite do it.
Damn it.
We tried. Well, now we know, and that's partly why we did the show.
That's right.
I really thought I was bringing you another horror movie you would love, Mike. But it turns out this movie, well, we changed. It didn't change, but we've changed.
I'm different now.
I'm different.
We fear change.
All right.
All right, cool. Great job.
Who's up next, Eric?
I'm up next. And Mike, I want to dedicate this next pick to you and your enduring support and love for the great Paul Verhoeven. We are going to return to one of this madman's films that, caused a big fuss when it came out, but no one talks about it. And I got a feeling based on like the content and the usual Paul Verhoeven political satire that is contained within that we might have some shit to talk about. It's another creature feature. We're going back to 1997 for Starship Troopers.
What do you mean no one talks about it? I still talk about it. Fuck yeah, man. Great call.
Our second Verhoeven film on this podcast. We did Basic Instinct. We actually did that. That did happen, right?
That was a fun episode. We all loved it.
All right. I'm looking forward to it. That sounds great. Starship Troopers on the next episode. Denise Richards, Doogie Howser, of course, the legendary
Casper
Michael.
Van
One of Verhoeven's favorite, Michael Ironside. That's right.
Jake Busey.
All right, cool. Good call. This will be fun. Yeah, very interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is one that's been in my. Yeah, this was always going to be on the show someday.
Hey, all right. Great gift, Dad. All right, well, there it is.
Baseball
Baseball stuff. Travis, Eric, Michael, we bid you adieu. We thank you for sharing your time with us. We did not take it for granted. Take her easy.